If you're over 60, this might be the most important video you watch this year. Why? Because your body rarely shouts, it whispers. And when it comes to stroke, those whispers are everything. They can mean the difference between a full recovery and lifelong complications. As we age, we learn to tolerate small discomforts, a bit of dizziness, forgetting a name, or stumbling over words. But what if those small things weren't random? What if they were early signs your brain is struggling and trying to tell you? Many people believe strokes come out of nowhere. One moment you're fine, the next, emergency. But in reality, your body often sends quiet, subtle warnings. The problem, most people don't know what to look for. That's why I'm making this video, because you deserve to know the signs before it's too late, not after. I've seen too many lives changed because someone waited just a little too long. And it wasn't because they didn't care, it's because they didn't know. So here's what I want you to do. If you're over 60, watch carefully. If you've ever experienced one of these signs, even once, share it in the comments. You might help someone else recognize a pattern before it's too late. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked signs, sudden dizziness or loss of balance. Have you ever stood up and felt like the room shifted under your feet? Like the ground wasn't where it should be? You had to grab something just to stay upright. It might pass quickly, and you tell yourself, I must be tired. Or maybe I skipped lunch. But here's what you need to know. When you're over 60, this type of sudden, unexplained dizziness could be far more serious. The part of your brain that controls balance, the cerebellum, is very sensitive to blood flow. If that flow is interrupted, even briefly, you might feel dizzy, off balance, or like you're about to fall. And unlike normal tiredness, this kind of dizziness doesn't go away with rest. It feels strange, unsettling. Like your body is warning you something is wrong, but you can't quite explain it. If you've ever felt this, especially with nausea, blurry vision, or a heavy head, do not lie down and wait it out. That delay could cost you precious time. Call for help, because acting fast can protect your independence, your memory, and even your life. This warning sign is one I've seen ignored too often. People recover temporarily, feel better for a day or two, and then a major stroke hits, with no second chance. So please, share your experience if this has happened to you. Others might recognize themselves in your story, and together, we might help someone take action when it matters most. Have you ever looked up and suddenly everything seemed blurry, doubled, or even like you were peering through a foggy window? Maybe the world tilted for a second. Maybe one eye went dark, or the edges of your vision started to close in. You might have thought, I'd probably just need new glasses, or maybe I stood up too fast. That's a natural assumption, but here's the key. Normal vision changes happen gradually. Stroke-related vision changes happen fast. When the part of your brain responsible for processing visual input doesn't get enough oxygen, the signals from your eyes become distorted or disappear altogether. The problem isn't with your eyes, it's with your brain. This kind of sudden vision loss, double vision, or distortion can last seconds or minutes. But even if it clears up on its own, that doesn't mean it's harmless. In fact, it could mean your brain just experienced a transient ischemic attack, also known as a mini. And here's the alarming part. Many people who have a mini-stroke go on to have a full-blown stroke within hours or days. That's why recognizing these early signs is critical. They are not random, they are warnings. So, if your vision suddenly goes fuzzy, your depth perception shifts, or the world splits into double, stop what you're doing and call emergency services. Do not wait to see if it improves. That time could be the only chance you get. Some of the most heartbreaking cases I've seen involved people who said nothing after their vision changed. They told no one, assumed it would pass, and within 48 hours were in the ER with a major stroke. That gap in response cost them their mobility, their speech, even their independence. And here's something else to know. Vision problems can also appear as missing pieces in your sight. You might suddenly lose the ability to see to the left or right. This is called visual field loss, and it's a huge red flag that the brain is under stress. If this has ever happened to you, even once, write it down. Share it with your doctor. And if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments here. You might save someone else from brushing off a moment that really mattered. Remember, when it comes to strokes, the eyes can tell the story before the brain shouts it. Have you ever been mid-sentence and suddenly the words don't come out right? You know exactly what you want to say, but your mouth won't form the words. Or maybe you're listening to someone, and it feels like their sentences are floating past you, too fast, too confusing, like you're in a fog. These moments aren't just senior moments or simple forgetfulness. They could be early signs that your brain's language center is misfiring, and that's a major warning for stroke. This kind of symptom is known as aphasia, a disruption in the brain's ability to understand or express language. It often shows up suddenly, and it's terrifying because you might still be aware of what's happening. You know what you're trying to say, but the wrong words come out, or no words at all. You may try to brush it off, blaming stress or fatigue. But if it hits without warning, especially if it resolves within minutes, it could have been This can happen when a stroke affects the left hemisphere of the brain, the side responsible for understanding speech, processing meaning, and producing coherent sentences. Here's what to watch for. You struggle to speak a full sentence. You say the wrong word, even though you know the right one. You can't understand what someone just said to you. You feel like your brain is stuck in neutral, even though you're trying. These episodes are often dismissed, especially if they pass quickly, but time is critical. The earlier you respond, the more of your brain you can protect. I remember a patient who couldn't form a single clear word for 30 seconds, then snapped out of it like nothing happened. He didn't tell anyone until days later. A week after that, he had a major stroke. That first moment was the warning. If you've ever experienced something like this, even for less than a minute, it matters. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to your doctor, share it with your family, and if you feel safe doing so, tell us in the comments. You may be giving someone else the key to act in time. Speech and understanding are two of our most essential tools, for safety, for connection, for independence. When they change without warning, your brain is sending you a message, and that message is urgent. Have you ever tried to say something simple, like your name, or I'm okay, and what came out wasn't quite right? Maybe your voice sounded thick. Maybe the words felt slow, slurred, or completely off from what you meant to say. You knew what you were trying to express, but your mouth just wouldn't cooperate. That's not forgetfulness. That's not just tiredness. That could be your speech muscles misfiring, and that's one of the most urgent signs of a stroke. This happens when the brain loses connection with the muscles that control your lips, tongue, and vocal cords. Your thoughts are clear, but your mouth can't follow the plan. The words might be jumbled, slow, or unclear. It can come on suddenly. You might feel fine one minute, and the next, your words are slurring. No warning, no explanation. And sometimes, it passes within a few minutes, which makes people dismiss it. But that's exactly the danger. Many seniors think, maybe I'm just tired, or I need some water. And by the time they realize something's wrong, the window for treatment has already closed. There's a simple test I want to share with you, and you can try it right now. Say your full name out loud. Then say, "Today is a beautiful day." Did your voice sound normal? Did the words flow easily? Was one side of your mouth slower than the other? If something felt off, don't wait for it to happen again. That one moment could have been your early warning, and the next might not come with time to react. Slurred speech is not always accompanied by pain or confusion. That's what makes it tricky. You might be thinking clearly. You might even feel fine otherwise. But your speech is like a blinking red light, telling you that something is wrong in the background. I've had patients who only experienced this symptom for 30 seconds and ignored it. Days later, they were in the hospital, unable to speak at all. That first slur was their brain asking for help. If this has happened to you, even once, talk to your doctor. And if you feel comfortable, share your experience in the comments. You could help someone take action at just the right time. Speech is more than sound, it's independence, safety, and connection. When your ability to speak changes without warning, your brain may be in distress, and you need to listen. Now let's shift to a sign that isn't about speech at all. It's about how your body moves, or suddenly stops moving the way it should. It's one of the clearest and most physical warnings your brain can give. Imagine reaching for your coffee, and suddenly your arm feels heavy, weak, or strange. Maybe your fingers don't quite grip the way they normally do, or you try to stand up, and one leg doesn't seem to respond. It's not pain, it's not stiffness, it's something else, like your body has stopped listening to your brain. This is one of the most common and recognizable stroke warning signs. Sudden weakness or numbness on one side of the body. It can affect your arm, leg, face, or hand, and it often appears out of nowhere. You might think, maybe I just slept wrong, or it'll pass once I stretch. But here's the truth. When your muscles suddenly stop responding, even briefly, it may not be your muscles at all. It's your brain's control center being cut off from blood. When a stroke blocks blood flow to the area of your brain responsible for movement, signals can't reach your limbs. That's why your arm might drop. Your hand might go numb. Your leg might feel like it's not part of your body. And here's a simple test you can try right now, and should remember for the future. Raise both arms straight in front of you. Can you hold them there? Do they stay up evenly? If one arm drifts downward, or feels weaker, that's a potential stroke in progress. Even if the sensation passes in a few minutes, it could have been a mini-stroke, also called a TIA. That's your warning shot. A more serious stroke could be next, unless you act fast. I've seen people ignore this sign because they felt better after lying down, or because it only lasted 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes could be your body's only chance to speak before something much worse happens. One woman I met delayed calling her doctor because she thought her leg had just fallen asleep. Within 48 hours, she couldn't walk without assistance. That early signal, the sudden leg weakness, was her brain's emergency flare. Another clue to watch for is, if one side of your face droops, you might notice it in a mirror, or someone might mention your smile looks uneven. Don't wait to see if it goes back to normal. That's your body asking for help. If you've ever felt numbness or weakness that came on suddenly and didn't make sense, talk to your doctor. And please, share it in the comments. Your story could help someone else realize their symptoms aren't just age, they're urgent. Have you ever had a headache that hit you like lightning? Not a dull ache or slow build-up, but a sharp, sudden pain that felt like it came out of nowhere. If that happens, especially if you're not someone who usually gets headaches, it could be a red flag. A sudden, severe headache is one of the most urgent and overlooked signs of a stroke, specifically a hemorrhagic stroke, where a blood vessel in the brain has ruptured. It might be the worst headache you've ever had. People describe it as a thunderclap. It can come with nausea, confusion, a stiff neck, or even blurred vision. And because it's so sudden, many people assume it must be stress or dehydration. But this is not a normal headache. This is your brain sending a pain signal for help. The worst mistake people make is taking a pain reliever and lying down, hoping it will pass. But when bleeding starts in the brain, every minute counts. Waiting it out could lead to permanent brain damage, or worse. If this kind of headache ever happens to you, call emergency services immediately. Even if it turns out not to be a stroke, it's far better to be safe. Your brain doesn't get a second chance. And if you've ever had a sudden headache like this and didn't know what to make of it, please share your story. It might help someone else act faster. Now, let's look at the most visible early stroke sign. One you might see in the mirror without feeling anything at all: facial drooping or an uneven smile. Have you ever noticed that when you smiled, one side of your face didn't quite match the other? Maybe one cheek stayed still, or your eyelid sagged just slightly. These changes might feel small, but they're not small signs. When a stroke affects the area of the brain that controls your facial muscles, it creates sudden weakness, usually on one side, and that's why your smile may suddenly look off. Here's a quick check. Stand in front of a mirror, smile, raise both arms. Say a simple sentence like, "Today is a good day." If one side of your face doesn't lift, one arm droops, or your speech sounds strange, call for help immediately. Those 3 signs together are the clearest visual indicators of stroke. And even if the symptoms go away within minutes, that doesn't mean the danger is gone. It could be a mini-stroke, a preview of something more serious. So now that you know the 8 early warning signs, what should you do? Never wait, never assume. If even one of these signs appears, sudden dizziness, blurry vision, slurred speech, numbness, clumsiness, headache, or facial drooping, act fast. The sooner you get help, the more of your brain you can protect. These symptoms don't always scream, they whisper. And if you're over 60, learning to hear them could save your life, or someone else's. If this video gave you clarity or confidence, please take a moment to subscribe to Senior Health Studio. We're here to help you stay informed, strong, and independent every step of the way. Tap that subscribe button and join a community that listens, learns, and lives well at every age.